it's Dr. Sarah here, and let's talk about financial intelligence. Financial intelligence is important to leaders. It's not just important to folks that are accountants or work in the finance department. Financial intelligence can impact a lot of the decisions and the influences that we as leaders have in an organization. So let's talk about this. Why is financial intelligence important? One of the key aspects of being a leader in an organization is understanding and help shaping that future vision of where the team or the organization or business unit is going. And critical to that is how we go about making decisions in the present day, making those present day decisions related to budget, maybe related to how we're allocating funds, maybe related to how we go about getting funding for different aspects of what we're working on. So financial intelligence is essential for helping us as leaders be able to bring about that vision that we have for the team or organization. Now, another important aspect when we talk about financial intelligence is situational awareness. Now, situational awareness is going to certainly vary based on the context. Some of us are leaders in organizations where we have executive leadership responsibilities. So we make all the final decisions and all the key decisions with that financial future of the business. Some of us are leaders in organizations where we have the opportunity to offer our input or offer our suggestions to a decision maker. And others of us are leaders in organizations, possibly emerging leaders, where maybe today we don't necessarily have a large impact on financial decisions made by the business, but we have aspirations to continue growing our career. We have those aspirations to next level our leadership within the organization, within the industry in the future. And so again, having that situational awareness is going to vary based on where you're at and what you're doing and what the context is. But regardless, gathering as much insight as possible based on your role and what's available. Now, certainly, when we're talking about organizations, finance is often a very sensitive topic. Possibly in your role, you might not even have access to some of the key financial documents. Others of you in your role may have access to every financial document. And so to start with, I encourage you to get familiar with what are some of those fundamental, basic finance documents, some of those basic reports that leaders and executive leaders and decision makers have access to as they are making decisions. Next, I encourage you, if you don't have access to any of those resources and it's not appropriate in your current position, spend some time reflecting. And this is a good practice for any of us, whether we have access to the reports or not, to spend time reflecting and looking at that financial footprint, is what we like to call it, the financial footprint of the organization. Really understanding what is the vision of the business, where does the business aim to be in the future? Understanding what are some of the key markets that we currently sell into where we have a lot of success. I like to think of this as your bread and butter areas. What are some of those key aspects to the business that your organization has a lot of success in? Also thinking about what are some of those R&D initiatives that we have underway? What are some of those business development initiatives? That can help us get an understanding of what market space the business or organization may be aiming to expand into. It could be a geography. It could be a new type of technology. It could be cross-selling new services or products to our existing customer base. Have an understanding again about that, because that will allow us as leaders to do our research, to do our independent analysis and exploration of understanding, okay, what are key aspects in that market space? What are key improvements the organization may have to make, key financial decisions? Maybe there's going to be some merger or acquisition that will need to happen. Maybe we're going to have to make some capital improvements to our facilities. Have a good understanding of those areas. And then next, keep in mind, what is generally that life cycle of a client or a customer that you have? Generally speaking, thinking about the organization, is your organization filled with clients or customers that maybe purchase products or services once or twice? Or is your organization filled with folks that maybe are on some type of subscription or some type of cyclical buying process? So these are just a couple of the areas that you can spend time reflecting and thinking about when you're trying to get an understanding of what's the financial footprint of the organization. Certainly, we can go in much greater detail, and depending on the organization, whether you're working with a multi-billion-dollar global enterprise versus a small business with a geographical footprint of a region or a smaller region that you may be existing in, it's going to be completely different, right? The reports that are important to decision makers are going to vary. Some organizations, a key focus is revenue dollars. Other areas of interest for organizations may be that profit margin. Maybe we want to increase the profit margin in the coming year. Again, these are all things for you as a leader to be aware of. Not necessarily so that you can look at every single financial report and understand exactly every nuance that's going into every report, but that you have that understanding, that situational awareness, you have an understanding of that financial footprint. Because all of these numbers, all of these financial conversations and decisions are all about priorities. And so as a leader in your space, whether you are a leader of an internal team, maybe you have no decision-making authority on anything to do with sales, marketing, R&D, and you're leading and managing a team, right? So we got to think about how, as a leader, are we best using the resources, those investments that the organization made into our team, whether it's to do with technology that we use, whether it has to do with tools that we need access to, whether it has to do with how can we be more productive, how can we be more efficient, how can we foster a culture of belonging that allows folks to have that sense of purpose and mindfulness in their work that then allows folks to be performing at a possibly greater rate. Again, all of these are some of those important considerations that come into building our financial intelligence. Because at the end of the day, we want to be leaders who are modeling behaviors for our team members. We want to be leaders who are making those decisions, offering our influence that, again, is going to position our organization towards that financial strength based on that financial intelligence that we draw from. Now, I encourage you to reflect on this question. How might financial intelligence, how might strengthening your financial intelligence impact your leadership decisions?